Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to switch it up and keep it light. I know that cuffing season is right around the corner, and actually we are in like first draft picks. So because of that, I wanted to do a cute little video on some first date do's and don'ts. So before I jump in, I'm going to give you guys a chance to subscribe to my channel, just in case you haven't done that already. And also, please make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Let's get right into it. Dating is a little bit iffy at the moment. You know, you might not feel comfortable going out to meet anyone, and that is completely fine. Luckily, it's 2020. We have all type of face chats. We have Zoom. We have online dating. So there are plenty of ways that you can still get out and be social and meet people. I think because of that, we can still go out, do fun things, and, you know, be able to have a nice social life and also stay COVID free. So let's jump right into this video. The first tip and the most important tip to me is to ask interesting questions. There's truly nothing that grinds my gears more than when someone, for instance, slides into your DMs and, you know, you can tell that they want to get to know you, but then they ask, WID, what are you doing? That is not a conversation starter. That is not an attention grabber. That is very boring, okay? That conversation will go nowhere. That conversation will come and die. So please, 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 tip number one, please ask interesting questions. What I would do if you are on, let's say, like a dating app, I would probably try to, you know, look on their page and see if something on their pictures or something on their page interests you, something that you can comment on. But please do not do the standard, hey, how are you? What are you doing? Let's get a little more creative, okay? Those are questions that will get you one-word answers. They will not get you any details. And frankly, we're tired of getting them. So please ask something else, okay? Don't ask me what I'm doing at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I am working. Don't ask me what I'm doing at 8 o'clock at night. I am at home, okay? So let's try to be, you know, a little more, let's try to have a little more variety, you know, sprinkle a little bit of spice on these questions. And ask really thought-provoking questions. You want to say something, because first impression is everything. So you want to say something that is an attention grabber, something where, you know, when someone reads your message, or when someone reads your message, that they are inclined to click on your photo because they're like, who is this person? You know, so you want to stand out. Everybody says the same things. So, you know, stand out. Tip number one, interesting questions. So going along with asking interesting questions, tip number two is to be confident and make the first move. Like, I think social media, because obviously now, you know, it's kind of harder to get out and meet people. But I think social media really allows people to DM first, and dating apps allow people to DM first. So don't be scared to slide in. You know what I mean? Slide in. Like, the worst that somebody could say is no, or just like nothing at all. So don't be scared to make the first move. Don't be scared to be confident. That also shows, especially for guys who are so used to always, you know, being the first one to DM someone, it is a nice change of pace to have the woman be the first one to make the move. So tip number two is to don't be scared, girl. Slide in them DMs. So tip number three is going to be to look presentable and smell good. Perfumes, colognes, all that is a great first impression, especially if you're like able to safely meet someone in person. Oh my God, there is nothing better than a nice smelling cologne. Make sure that you dress in something that is comfortable for you, and make sure that it is something that you feel really, really good in, really, really confident in. So spray your favorite scent and look good, girl. Tip number four, actively listen. The most annoying thing ever when you go on a date with someone, or even when you're just talking to somebody in conversation, is when you are deep into your thought and you look over at them and they are deep into their phone. And that is just so disrespectful to me. That is so rude. You know, you can dedicate a good hour and a half of your time to actively listen to your date. Make sure that you are engaged in the conversation that you guys are having. There's nothing better than an active listener. Tip number 5 is to flirt, you know, be a little flirty, and also do, like, I love a good, you know, when you're deep in conversation with someone, I love a good, you know, when you're laughing or something, you just, you know, tap your hand on their wrist, or you do a good shoulder, ha ha ha. You know what I mean? Like, get really creative, you know, lean into the person, really show that you're invested and that you're listening to what they say. Definitely be flirtatious, definitely make sure you smile, you laugh, you know, crack jokes, do little snippy remarks if that's your thing. Like, I just think having a level of flirtation in the date is just so nice. And you can get that across whether you are, you know, FaceTiming someone or whether you're face to face. Tip number 6 is to keep the date short. So I actually learned this in a book that I was reading. But basically it said that the date should not last more than an hour and a half. And even if you are on the date and the date is going very well, you know what happens. Like, the date, you're on a date, you're kicking it, everybody like having a good time. And then it's like 6 hours later, you're like, what happened? So basically, the book suggested that if you know, set a time limit of an hour and a half, keep that time limit, and then, you know, once the date's over, if the date was going well, that leaves some mystery to you. That'll keep them wanting to know more about you, and that way you won't show all of your cards at one time on the date. And then the final tip for dating is to date at your own pace. First, don't compare yourself to other people's relationships. Some people's relationships progress fast. Some people's relationships progress a little slower. So always do what is best for you, and don't look at someone else's relationship as a blueprint of how fast that you think that your relationship should be going. Okay, now on to my favorites, the don'ts of the first date. Tip number 1 is to don't only talk about yourself. We've all been on dates. I personally, it was last year pre-COVID. I remember this clear as day. I was on this date with the guy, first time meeting. We talked a little bit before the date, but when we got to the date, when I tell you, all this man did was talk. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel like I am a more like observant type of person. Like, I will input things when I can, or, you know, I'm not like a quiet person. So if I'm on a date, like, I'll talk, but I'm not an overly talkative person. He talked, I kid you not, from the beginning of the date to the end of the date, and then had the nerve at the end of the day to tell me, oh, I don't think you didn't really talk a lot about yourself today. What? Literally, this man talked the entire day. They got a nerve to say that you don't know nothing about me. Yeah, because you don't know how to be quiet. Like, so please. I mean, it goes without saying, just let the other person talk. Okay, another tip number 2 is don't look for perfection. That is huge. Actually, that could have been tip number 1. We all have, like, you know, maybe not all of us, but, you know, some women have lists of the type of men that they want, and the type of partner that you want in your life. And I think that is great. I think that you should absolutely know the qualities of a person that you want, but also be clear that there is no perfect person. So the person that is perfect for you will still have qualities about them that irks your nerves. So nobody is 100% perfect. Somebody's going to do something that you don't like. So don't go into a date or don't go on dates looking for perfect people. Okay, tip number 3. This is basically like post-COVID activities, but don't go out in a huge group of people. So girls do this a lot. Girls tend to do this a lot when they go out to clubs or go out to different places to try to meet people. They go in this huge group of girls. What usually happens is that men get intimidated to walk up to the entire group, because what happens is you have one man coming up to like 7, 8 different females, and they have to walk into that group. All eyes are immediately on them. And so they're getting stared down the entire time that they're trying to talk to you and get to know you. So it's best to just try, if you can, to just try to go out in smaller groups. That will make it easier for people to approach you. And it will make it less intimidating for people to come up to you. Tip number 4, don't pretend to be something that you are not. Please, guys, go into these dates being yourself. My friend always says you don't want to put up your representative, right? And you don't. When you go on these dates, you don't want to put up a persona of a person that you think that this person, that, you know, the person that you're on a date with will like. You need to be yourself, because what ends up happening 9 times out of 10 is that someone goes into these dates with their representative up, and then you can only keep up the act for so long. A couple months into the relationship, you're forgetting who you said that you were, and you're actually being yourself. So it's best to just don't put up your representative and be exactly who you are the first time. You don't want to get into a relationship with someone where you have to change yourself. So definitely don't do that on the first date. Tip number 5, please do not talk about your exes for the duration of the date. The question that always comes up when dating is, how long was your last relationship? Why did your relationship end? Now, that's a cool question, I think, because you get to know how that person is in relationships, and why, you know, their previous relationship ended. So I get the gems that you can find in asking a question like that. But the problem is, you don't want to spend so much time focusing on, like, especially if you and your ex didn't end in a good way, you don't want to spend the date like dogging your ex, you know, like that's not going to look good. So just what I would do until you guys have a rapport is eliminate any question about their ex from jump. Like, don't even ask anything about the ex until like later on down the line. Tip number 6, I feel like I don't even have to really go into this too much because you already know what's good. Don't drink too much. There's nothing worse than not being able to hold your alcohol and you're on this date, you don't know this person, you want to stay composed, you want to stay in control. So I would definitely say, you know, obviously, I would hope that we are all drinking responsibly and that we know our limits. But I would recommend maybe only 1 or 2 drinks out. And, you know, obviously just drink responsibly. Do not get sloppy drunk. That is not a good look on a first date. Now, the last tip is to don't make it seem like a job interview. So with the, you know, ask interesting questions, I think it is really easy to get into the questions and you're, you know, asking this and asking that, but then all of a sudden it's like question. And it's like, can I relax? You don't have to, and see, that's the thing about like a time limit too. You don't have to cover all the ground in that one date. You don't get on the first date and fire off question after question after question. I came to sip on my wine and to eat my food. I did not come to get, you know, bombarded with questions. So definitely, you know, don't make it seem like a job interview. Like, ask these people questions, but don't get carried away. Because I love you guys so much, I have a bonus tip for you. Do not overanalyze if a guy doesn't call you back after the first date. It is okay to date people and not like them. That is perfectly fine. You do not have to marry the first person that you went on a date with. You do not have to get into a relationship with the first person you go on a date with. That is the point of dating. Enjoy yourself, have a good time, meet different people, see what type of guys or girls work for you, see what type of guys or girls don't work for you, but don't be set on this one person. Date around, have a good time, find a person who you like, but don't be upset if, you go on a date and you think that you guys had a really good time and then you never hear from them again. That's okay. Is it shitty when it happens? It is. But that is life. We will all be all right. Please make sure that you hit that subscribe button if you have not already. And please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And I will see you in the next video. Ciao.